So you have an HDR photo. You guys have been doing them. I've been watching you do them. They look great. I'm really excited about it. And once you got this, you might think, I'm done. Well, maybe you are, maybe you're not. I mean, if you do the HDR perfectly, you might be done. But I just want to use this photograph to kind of illustrate the fact that you don't really have to be. I mean, if you take a look at these things critically, a lot of the things that you might have done with some of the other photographs, and as far as layer adjustments and layer masking, are also true here. And what I want to do is just show you some quick and easy ways of making your masks. Using, and I kind of showed you this before, but using the tool that's over here called the, well, not the magic wand, but the quick selection tool. Okay, it's right over here on your left. Okay, it's right there, quick selection tool. Okay, so let's say we wanted to make the grass a little bit greener, or maybe we wanted to make the water a little bluer that's in the pool here, or the sky a little bit deeper blue because it's kind of aqua color right now. Let's do that. So our quick selection tool, okay, is just basically like a brush. You can make it bigger or smaller with the bracket keys, or also up here. There are a couple modes up here, okay, plus or minus or regular, okay. I always just do add to selection, and then when you can hit the option key, and it will subtract from a selection. So then I can say, oh, no, I don't want that, okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select out this, whoops, we're going to select out this sky, okay, and we're going to kind of make it a little bluer. Now, I'm going to hold the option key down and subtract the trees. Now, a large part of the problem that you're going to find when you have something like trees and stuff like that is it gets really difficult to make a good mask because you got all those little branches, right? So what I want to show you right now is a way of making a mask, okay, without actually having to go through this process of using the selection tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my layer and I'm going to duplicate it. You guys are going to like this, by the way, because this is pretty snazzy, if I do say so myself. Then you're going to go up to the image menu and you're going to go to the adjustments and you're going to say black and white. Now, there's a major change from here to what I've taught you before. When you do this, it actually puts the adjustment down on the layer. So there's no adjustment layer anymore. So whatever changes you make are permanent to that layer, short of your undos, of course. So it's always important to duplicate the layer. The other reason why we duplicate the layers, we're going to use this black and white layer as our mask. So we have to have the other layer, the old layer, to apply the mask to. Does that make sense? Okay? Or an adjustment layer to apply the mask to, which is what we're going to do. So, excuse me. Now I've got this. What I want to do is I'm going to take my yellows, I'm going to make them really dark. Take my greens and make them really dark. Take my blues, well, let's go reds first, dark, magentas, dark. Now I can take my blues and make them really bright. You see what it's doing to the sky? See how it's boosting that sky up? Okay? We don't want to go too far. And I can do the same thing with the cyans, just a little bit. Now what's interesting is, look what I've got. I've got a mask. I mean, that's what a mask is basically, right? Is just black and white. And the black is going to be transparent and the white is going to be opaque. Now, obviously, I've got a bunch of stuff down here that I need to worry about, but I've got a mask. So I'm going to click OK. This looks pretty good, and I'm going to call this Mask Master, because I'm going to use this for a couple of things first. I'm going to use it for the sky, and I'm also going to use it for the water in the pool. So we're going to use it twice. So I'm going to go back to my background here, and I'm going to add, let's just do a color balance. And then what I'm going to do, and this is the fun part, I'm going to go into my mask, and I'm going to hit Command-A, or select all. And I'm then going to copy, or Command-C, okay? Then, here's the key part. Option click into the mask. You have to hold the Option key down and click into the mask. And what this does is this gives you the blank mask that you've got in here. So in order to do this, just to show you the difference, I'm going to get out of this here, okay? And before I do anything, let's just make some massive color adjustment here, okay? So now I've just boosted the reds and the midtones like crazy, so that when I do the change here, it's going to show up really fast. So I've copied and pasted. I've copied my mask master, and I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to go edit, and this is important. You want to paste special and paste in place. The important thing about pasting in place is it puts your mask in exactly the same place that it was when you copied it, so that it lines up perfectly with your photograph. Now, in some cases, it won't matter. But in others, it'll matter really big. Because if you are having a composite or something, there are times if you just hit paste, it just pastes it right in the center. Well, if your mask isn't centered, you can have major problems. So I always go to paste in place just because it's better that way. So now I've pasted this, and I can go to select, deselect now. And let's get out of this and look at what happened. See how it's mostly affecting the blue areas now, for the most part? But I'm not completely done. Now what I need to do is go in here, just with a brush and black paint, okay? Get a harder edge. And now I'm just going to paint in everything that I didn't really want to deal with, okay? But what's cool is the tricky part up here with the trees, that's almost done for me. I don't have to go into all those little tiny bits and everything now. Okay? I can just go in here and just fill this. Now, once you get up to some of these edges here, what might help, and this is another nice technique, is go back and build another selection here. And what you really want is you want to get the edges of the buildings. So I'm going to click back on this, go back to my selection brush, okay. Oops, no, I don't want the sky. And so a lot of times it's a little bit of a push and pull. It will oftentimes grab too much, and then you say no, thank you. I'm not going to worry about the trees. I'm just going to worry about the buildings here. And you can see, I mean, it's a pretty easy process to build a selection with the buildings, okay? That looks pretty good. There's no sky in there, and I think that's enough. So now once I've got the selection built, okay, all I need to do is I can option click back into my mask, and you can see how that's all there. Now I can just take my paintbrush, and the selection keeps me from painting too much. And I can just take care of that. Now there's a couple little spots here that it missed. So I'm going to go back into here. I can deselect, go back to my selection tool, and I can just take care of a couple. Actually, I shouldn't have deselected. I can just take care of that. Get a smaller brush. Oops, we don't want that, so minus that. So option key gets rid of that. And there might be some of it I have to do by hand, but it's not, it's not horrible. There we go. That looks pretty good. Option click back into my mask, get my black brush back, and woohoo. There we go. So now we've got a pretty good mask. Now, the last thing that we need to do is realize that my trees here are kind of grayish, right? Which may or may not be a big deal, but if they're grayish, that means that the layer mask the adjustments are kind of transparent in certain places. So we're going to boost our contrast. So I'm going to go back to my image, and I'm going to go back to my adjustments, and I'm going to go to my curves here. And you can kind of, if you click here, it kind of shows you where things are. Well, I've got pretty much a pure white up here, so I just can take this and slide this down like this, and they're just going to go super dark. Oh, that's probably too much. Something like that works out really well. And I'm not going to worry about the grays here, because there's a little bit of blue showing through there, because it's in the background and stuff. So a little bit of transparency is not bad, but we just want to make sure that the trunk of the tree is actually fully black so that the mask works its, and does its job. So now, if I option click out of here, again, now I can change the color of my sky very independently. Kind of make it a little bluer, maybe get rid of some of the greens, some of the cyans. I mean, I can have a lot of fun and make that sky a real nice blue. And now, to do the pool, I can do the exact opposite. But before I go too much further, I'm going to double click this and I'm going to say sky correction. I think I taught you guys this in the demo I did with the others. But always name your adjustment layers, just because it does get a little crazy sometimes. So now let's add another adjustment layer here, another color balance layer, so we can work on the pool of water. And then we can just go in here, option click, and I think I haven't copied and pasted since I did it last, so that layer should still be in the memory. Paste in place. There it is. Cool. And now I can do something very similar, where I just take this, white, that's interesting, get my black and white here, and I just paint right over the mask. I don't want anything else but the water pool. So now I don't have to worry about all that stuff. Now I'm going to have problems here with the concrete and whatnot. So again, just one of the easiest things to do, probably just do it in the mask here, is just build a selection. Sometimes it's easier to build the mask in the mask. Build the selection inside the mask is what I meant to say. That looks pretty good. We're getting pretty close there. And again, sometimes you have to say, no, I wanted that. It's part of the reflections. Get a little bit of a bigger brush here. And you also may have to do some of it by hand. But that's pretty good. So now I can hit the brush. The selection I built keeps me from going into the water. You can also, by the way, just go edit fill and just dump black into there. Sometimes I find it more satisfying to use the brush. It's just, do some cleanup. Now I can option click out of that. Not sure why this one's clipped. We don't need to worry about that. And now I can make some massive changes just to the pool. So I can dull it down. I can increase the blues to make it stand out more, so that blue, now that blue is really like mirroring the blue in the sky. But what's cool is it's not necessarily impacting the reflection of the little, I don't know what that thing is, gazebo type building, whatever, that's in the water. It's only really adjusting the blue reflection that's in the water. So you can really do that with every little thing you want, you wanted to. If I go back in here, I'm noticing that this is kind of grayish, so I might want to actually make it whiter. If I'm looking in here too, you can see that there's some stuff in here. It's a reflection, so having a little blue tinge in here is probably not bad. So I'm not going to get rid of that. But I might actually want to go in to the white and paint that out. So I might actually, let's undo that, build another mask. These masks are these selections, are very, very helpful to allow you to kind of go in here. And here I might just go in with the white and just go slowly, maybe with a lower opacity. Nah. Why go slow? And what this will do is this will make the adjustment more powerful, because there was gray on there, so that meant the adjustment was kind of sort of transparent in places. So now you can see as I do this color balance here, it's really making a dramatic effect. And it's not affecting this at all. So honestly, I'm probably going to go in, and this is where I'll take and I'll build another selection right here with this guy. And then what I'll do is I'll go in with a big, huge brush at like 30% opacity. And just do something like that. So now that section of the mask is going to be a little less powerful, but it's still going to affect it a little bit. So you can see that as I change, it does change some colors a little bit, but maybe not quite as much as it would have. And I can push and pull that back and forth, which is really nice. Honestly, if you want to do it really precisely, a lot of people would probably just keep that pure black and then build a mask just for the little reflection of the little building, you know, so they could control that specifically. And then you could create a mask for the grass and everything. And using that technique that I just showed you of starting with a black and white version of your photograph and then using those tones to start your selections, that's really powerful. So this Mask Master, what I should probably do is call it the Blue Mask Master. Then I could go and duplicate again, okay? And I could call this a Mask Master, and I could call it, you know, the Mask Master for green. So then what I can do is I can take this one, let's bring it up here, and I can go to my adjustments, just to show you, do my color balance, and this time, oops, what am I doing? Not color balance. Do my black and white, and this time, make the greens really brightish, and take my blues to be dark, yellow's up, red's down. Now you can see I've started the master. Now my greens are white and everything else is going black. And so I can easily start to adjust my grass, you see, because I built a new mask basically around the greens instead of the blues. So that ability to say, you know, to go to the adjustments and go black and white and choose what colors are bright and what colors are dark really sets you on your way very quickly to a nice, good, easy layer mask that you can use with your color adjustments. And then what I just do is I'll just turn them off when I'm not using them, and I'll throw them somewhere. Sometimes I'll even try and throw them behind the background, but you may see how it doesn't let me. You just got to rename your background layer 0. And now I can just throw them underneath the background so that they're not a nuisance and they'll never show in case I forget to turn them off or something like that. And I'll lock them too. So I'll just lock them so that I don't screw around with them too much. Oh, you have to have them turned on. So I'll lock them like this, and then I'll just turn them off. And then that way you can't accidentally screw up your black and white mask masters, as I call them. Does this make sense? So it's a really nice and simple way of creating masks, especially when you're dealing with things like trees, because that's the real key, because you will go insane, and I know this because I've tried, when you try to create a mask around all those little branches and stuff like that. You spend 4 or 5 days doing it, it's never perfect, and it will drive you nuts. When all you had to do was take 5 minutes and create a black and white version, and you're done. Okay, so it's nice to, this works really well for fire and water too. So if anyone ever had fire or water, they wanted to mask out that method works really well. But for the HDRs, just what I want you to understand is you're not done yet. Okay, you've done the HDR, that's cool. I still want you to go in and custom tailor and custom color balance individual pieces to draw out the strength of the photograph. So here, the strength of the photograph is in the blues. Okay, we've got this blue reflection in the water, and we've got this blue sky. And so we want to really bring that out. And if if we go back to our original, look at that. I mean, there's your change in the water pool, okay? And there's your change in the sky. I mean, it really makes a dramatic effect and really brings out what is basically the focus of that image. And that's what's really key. Any questions? Okay.